Hey YouTube, how's it going? Today I'm going to be showing you how to install Mac OS Sierra on a VMware on a virtual environment, and I want you to follow along closely as we get this done. I have my files here already downloaded, but you can check below the link and you see, below the video, and you see the link to all these files where I've uploaded already. So I have my VMware player. You could also get the Workstation Pro, but make sure it is version 12, because what I'm going to be showing you right now works with VMware the version 12. Yeah, and then I already have the patch, which we're also going to use, and then the Mac OS Sierra, which is approximately about 6 GB. So all the links are going to be there, and you're going to see all of that. So first thing first, what we need to do is to make sure I extract my Mac OS Sierra to my desktop. So here is the one I've already downloaded. Yeah, so make sure you have enough drive space, because after extracting the OS, it's going to give you about 9 GB. So I'm going to extract it to this folder. So while that is going on, yeah, I'm going to proceed to install my player VMware version 12. So I just click on next, accept the agreement, next, yeah, next. I'm just gonna tick these ones because I don't need them. Then I click on next, yeah, next, install. Then so once that is done, then the next thing we have to do, I need you guys to follow along closely, because this part is quite very important. So the next thing you need to do now is to set up your environment. Okay, so now that our OS has finished extracting into this folder, and we've also extracted our patch into this folder, so the next thing we need to do now is to open up our VM workstation player. So I'm just going to double click on it here and make sure it gets open. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to create a new virtual machine. So I'm just going to click on I will install the operating system later. I click on next and I select Apple Mac OS. So if you're not seeing the Apple Mac OS, that means your patch didn't run correctly. So once you're done, you can select your version and click on next. Then here I'm going to give it let me change the name. I'm just going to give it whatever I want. Mac OS Sierra. Yeah. Then my location where I want this operating system to be resided. That is what here means. So for the purpose of this training, I'm just going to create a new folder on my desktop here, and I'm just going to call it what should we call it? Mac VMware. Yeah, Mac VM. Yeah. So I'm going to click on browse, and I'll select desktop here, and I'll select Mac VMware, which is this folder we just created here, and I'll click on OK, and I click on next, and I'm just going to leave this as it is, and make sure I click on store virtual disk as a single file. Then I click on next, and then I click on finish. So it creates this for you. So once you're done and you see this, click on edit virtual machine. Yes, and then you can decide to customize all of this the way you want, give it more RAM and all of that, and then the number of processors you can also increase it. But make sure you select virtualize Intel this, yeah, and make sure it's also enabled on your computer BIOS. So once you're done, you click on add drive, this add drive here, and make sure you click on remove. Once you remove, then you click on add again. Yes, then I select add drive again and I click on next, and make sure you have it as SATA recommended. Then click on next. Then here I'm going to choose use an existing virtual disk. Then I click on next and I'll click on browse. Yeah, so this time around I'll head down to my desktop here, and this time around I'm going to select the OS that we extracted, like so. So I click this and then I click on finish, and once I'm done I click on OK, and then I make sure I power this off, I close off. Yes, then I add on to the folder where our VM is residing, which is this folder. I open it, yes, and I look for this file here. Yeah, I right click on this and I edit with Notepad plus or whatever editor you have. Then go to the end of the file, and add these following lines to read, and this is where the arc comes in, and it's going to work like so. And all you're just going to add is smc.version space equal space this and then 0. Once you're done, save and then close off. Then close the folder, go back to your player, and then click on the OS and then click on play virtual machine. So here it's just going to ask you for one or two errors, and then you can just click on no, and then here you can click on cancel and then OK. Then just give it some few time depending on your processor and stuff like that. Here you're going to see everything coming up real quick. If you're having any error, make sure you post your comments, your errors on the link below, and I'm going to make sure I respond to them as quick as possible. So hooray, here we have it. It's all booting up now, and you might be wondering why we still have it this in a box, in not in a full screen mode. We will fix all of that soon. Then shut down. So once that is done, we go back to our player and then click on the OS, edit virtual machine settings, go to CD, use ISO image, browse, desktop, and where we have our patch here, then tools, VM2, then you can click on connect on power on, and then click on OK, then play the virtual machine. Okay, so now we're properly boot up, and then we can then double click on this VM tools, and then double click on install tools, and then click on continue, install, then I enter my password, continue installation. Yeah. And so once that is done, we're gonna see what was gonna happen. Everything just gonna be in full screen mode. Now the installation is finished. I can click on restart. So you can see it, let me, it just fits in into the entire screen. So I can click here to say enter full screen mode, and boom, we have everything working perfectly well. So I can close this, go to my Finder, do a whole lot of stuff.